program. It was approved only to be done within a specific zone, and the City of New London had 6 months to create that zone, which was supposed to be limited in scope, and they didn't do it because they got caught up in an endless debate, and the time ran out. And they still want to do it, but now they've lost the window of time opportunity, so they have to go back to the state and ask for the pilot to be reapproved. All I've said is we need to put it on the table, because just like what Governor Malloy said with the state, you know, any good proposal we need to consider, and we need to try out in limited formats to see if it'll work. Because obviously what we've been doing isn't working, and if there's a good proposal out there that's gotten approvals that might work, that the local people in that area that are going to be affected support, well then, let's try it. And if it doesn't work, we can always switch back. But what if it works?
You know what? You're a very smooth talker, like Governor Malloy is, and it's not going to happen, okay?
All right.
That's what I'm going to tell you.
Thanks for calling.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Well, there you go. Good, good, good.
Feedback.
All right.
I was going to make the comment earlier about, you were talking about transparency in government is one of the platform points.
Yep.
And I think the honesty with the people is before you can have transparency in your government, you have to have sort of transparency in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, people have to believe that you're capable of being honest with them before they're going to trust, you know, the policies you put forward.
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, that's a refreshing change from what you hear.
And the ability to take, you know, tough questions. I mean, the caller brought up a very good question. Yep. It's a controversial topic. I know there are a lot of people who are on both sides of it, and maybe because of it, there are a lot of people who won't vote for me. Okay, fine. But, you know, you have to be willing to say, you know, this is what I think, this is why I think it.
Yep.
Because in the end, there is more than one issue in the election.
Sure.
And I think there might be some people who very strongly disagree about an LVT pilot, or there might be some people who very strongly disagree with my stance on education, on merit pay, or, you know, there are a lot of different things that people might say. On that one, I don't like what you're talking about. But on the whole, you were up front, you took the tough question, you told me why you're doing it, and there are other things I do like. Yeah. And then they got to make a comparison. Well, you might not be my first perfect choice, but it's you or who else.
Right.
And in the end, I think the fact that you were up front, the fact that you took the questions, the fact that you put ideas out there, in the end will have a much more positive effect than if I were to say, no, I'm not going to talk about LVT because I know it's controversial.
Right. Yeah.
Or no, I'm not going to talk about merit pay because it's going to upset the teacher union. Or no, I'm not, you know.
Or talk about it, but talk around it.
No, no, no. We've had enough of that. New London's had 1 million studies. New London's had 1 million people who talk around issues. No, we created this office because we want leadership.
Yep.
And leadership means sometimes you're going to be controversial and not everyone's going to agree with you.
Yep.
But boy, oh boy, tell us something. And I think more people will respect you for at least attempting it than they will not like you for trying something new.
Sure. Absolutely.
So let's take our other caller.
Another call. Good evening, NLC Trans. You're on the air. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Good evening. Yeah.
You're on.
Hello.
Hello, hello. We can hear you.
Am I on?
Yes, you are.
All right. Regarding your regarding your land value tax, there was a committee that was set up in the city. Okay, and they couldn't approve of it. So I don't see where you can go with it. I think what you would have to do is put it out on a vote and let the citizens decide what they want to do with it. Because there was a committee was already established, and they couldn't get together on it. In fact, that's why it was turned down. And going back to the state and everything, that's a lot of baloney. You want to do it right, you give it to the citizens and let them vote on it.
I think
that's my philosophy.
I think, and my understanding of that committee and some of the problems with it was that there were large property owners in other areas of the city, particularly some of the car lots and some of the ferry properties and stuff, that they were concerned that it would overwhelmingly disproportionately affect them. And they were right to have those concerns.
Yep. And
that stopped it. But what I would tell those interested parties is this proposal as a pilot, particularly tied to a small, limited downtown zone, will not affect you. It's not going to affect your properties. So a lot of the opposition to this came from interested parties that I think thought it was going to affect them when it's not, or were worried that, uh-oh, if it works in this zone, they might expand it to affect us. But that's not what we're talking about. And I think there's still an opportunity to have it on the table.
So are we talking really about commercial properties as opposed to residential? Is that what I'm hearing?
I believe my understanding of the debate was that a lot of the opposition came from large commercial property owners who would not be affected by a pilot program tied to a small downtown zone.
Right.
So there was opposition, but I think that a lot of that opposition came from people that are not going to be affected by certainly the proposal I put forward. But what I'll tell people is, look, I have this idea, but the mayor is not the emperor of New London, even though it's going to be a very strong mayor. There's going to be hearings on this. There's going to be a council process. The council would have to be on board as well. So what I would tell people is, if you don't like it, and that's enough to not vote for me, fine. But I stand where I stand. But that doesn't mean that if I'm elected, it's automatically going to happen. We're still going to have to put this through the normal process, and that might include, if the council so desires, a vote of the public, as the caller suggested, but more likely would include a discussion within the mayor and the council. So if this gets approved, a lot more people than one person are going to have to think it's a good idea.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm still going to put it forward because I think it's worth trying, as I'm going to put other ideas forward, and some may fly and some may not, but we're going to move the agenda because we're tired of having stagnation in New London.
Yeah, and on the LVT, it sounds like, as you were saying, a lot of the opposition to it is from people that may not be affected by it, and actually being able to sit down with a map and go, this area
Right.
would probably allay a lot of concern.
With a lot of the financial numbers behind it as well. But I know
all
that
very
you're,
nebulous.
I know that you're running out of time here. You got a minute left. But,
We are running out of time, and I wanted to
yes,
thank
we're
you
down
so
to-
much for coming.
Oh,
You
glad to
have
be
to
here.
come back.
I will, gladly.
Still have questions.
Sorry. Good.
And we are
Every
on time,
green
but,
little note, we ran out of time.
I think
Sorry.
before we go, we need to talk about when the parade is. And
Yes, when and
Yes,
where?
the parade tomorrow. Please come.
1 minute.
It is at 3 o'clock. It sets off. It will go up Bank Street and up State Street. And after the parade, go visit a local New London small business. It's going to be a lot of fun. Bring the kids. It's going to be a great event for New London.
yeah,
So it's starting
great.
around the firehouse? Or?
Yes, starts around the firehouse, goes up from there, and we're marching with the McCarthy oil truck from 1929 with the shamrocks on it, and we have our little flags, and we're ready to go, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So Democrat, Republican, Independent, whoever you are, whoever you're voting for, just come out and
Come on
support
out.
the Irish parade.
Yeah. And happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to head down to Hodges Square.
That's right.
We'll see you all next week.